Welcome to today's episode of AI in Action, where we decode the latest trends in AI, from research to profit, the Applied AI Show. Your hosts, Rajan, founder and partner at the AI accelerator EP6 and involved in AI research, and Kashi, AI researcher, startup founder, and renowned AI voice, bridge the gap between breakthrough research and business results. Rajan brings deep expertise and AI-first transformation and emerging architectures, while Kashi contributes hands-on experience with research and implementation by building and deploying AI systems across industries. Together, they decode the latest developments in AI and agentic systems and translate them into actionable strategies for practitioners, founders, and business leaders. Their mission: help you turn cutting-edge AI research into real-world ROI.
Hello,
So
Rajan.
Kashi,
How are you?
I'm good. So what's up this week?
Oh, this week it's all the week of red eyes with OpenAI, Codex launching, and then even Opus 4.6 launching. I think it's been quite a disruptive week. Sridhar Vembu then coming and saying that, you know what, go find another job for all the IT engineers. I think it's been the news of the week. So what's your take on what's happening?
That Sridhar Vembu tweet caused quite a stir, right? I saw some of my own friends going and saying, Sridhar, like, don't worry, Sridhar can afford to say it. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. My own take is slightly different. I saw about a week and a half, Karpati also go through this. A lot of people were actually attacking Karpati on his timeline, saying you're being hyperbolic. You're fear mongering. Funny thing for me is that 2 weeks ago I saw somebody actually put out a Twitter article which was all about OpenClaw, and that had 1.5 million people were all saying that is great, but that was like a crypto scammer and everybody was falling for it. And here is like a real deep, it was like, deep in the trenches. He's seeing things like, ahead and around the corner, and then he's experiencing it and he's sharing his experience, and people are like, look, you're being hyperbolic. I think this is what happens when we all go through exponential curves. When we are inside the exponential curve, we cannot see what is going on. I think, in a different way, we saw that during COVID, where we are inside COVID, like, we were not able to see the kind of impact an exponential curve can have. I guess that is what we're going through. One thing more I would say with respect to Sridhar is, I thought, like, Sridhar, I heard a podcast with him and Bala Parthasarathi, one of my friends, and at that time he was cautious, but before that, no, he was not cautious. He said things like, we're experimenting with small models and I see the impact and I see some 20-30% impact. But before that, he was cautious. So I saw Linus, I saw DHH, all of them turning from skeptic to believer. So everybody is getting religion around coding agent. So it is fun to see Sridhar saying that, man, I need to sort of change things, right? But then there are some of our friends who are still saying, this still finds hyperbolic. So 2026 is the year I think practically every skeptic will find the religion. It's just the coding agents are here to stay. Your take.
Yeah, I think while I mean, there's a bit of truth in that I would say that if you're mediocre, I would definitely go to the extreme saying that watch out. You have to be on top of your game, whatever you're doing. I'm very sort of like getting to that. Last week we spoke, right? It's not an era like where you can think like yesterday night, no, I knew something, and today morning I get up. If I don't know, maybe it's not just enough. We need to be on top of our game every single day. I think that's the era that we're getting into, is especially in the coding world, and especially anything to do with computer aided tasks. On that note, did you try out Codex and Opus 4.6?
So 4.6, like, I was in the terminal. I saw the announcement on one terminal. 4.5 was still running. Another terminal, as I opened, automatically 4.6 was working. I was more curious about
Um,
the Boris tweet where he said, tasks and swarms are there. Not the task. The task got released a few days ago already. He was talking about swarms, which was more like, the thing that, Ralph Wiggum or what Stevie Eggy was talking about. So I was very curious about it. I was trying that. But then 4.6, I could see some step jump. I thought, like, it was not going to be 4.6. It was going to be the 5. At least that was the rumor mill. Everybody in Reddit were talking about saying, looks like 5 will come out. I think Anthropic did a little bit of a click and bait here that made people believe that a 5 is going to come out, but it was actually a 4.6. For me, the thing that I've not felt very strongly, even though I try to sort of load larger code bases, is that the whole 1 million context window. I always hate this. Context ran out earlier. We had to do manual compact, and now some auto compact happens. But you know that, right? In compact, not more. If you go beyond 40%, we enter the so-called dumb zone, right? So earlier it was about 30-40%. Now maybe it is 45%. Not much of a difference. So I'm yet to see the difference in terms of context window expanding and some of these programs not moving into the dumb zone. So still hands on playing with it. Codex, I use Codex much less compared to 4.6. I mean, compared to Claude. So I just barely touched it. I just have been hearing about Codex, so I don't have first-hand experience with Codex to talk about yet. I know you're a Codex fan, right? So you said Codex was different.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about it a little more in detail. We promised our audience that we'll get into details. I'm going to open up the model card and let's dwell into it. I have some very interesting findings. Hopefully everybody has seen it. If not, here's a chance. So I'm going to pick up
I see
the
very
model.
few people actually going through model cards, right? Which is a fascinating document.
Yeah. So I'm just, oh my God, it's okay. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes.
This is Claude's model card. And here's what I found interesting. While we have this VBench core, which is fantastic, and terminal bench and many other things, what I found is benchmarks on retail and telecom. So I know that they have vending bench running and they have models domain
So
specific
Kashi, to
running.
interrupt, some folks may not be aware of what a model card is. You want to talk about what a model card is?
So model card is nothing but whenever a new model is released, by large, it describes what the LLM is actually launching. It has various details into what is the capability of the model, how it has been tested, what was the training process, so on and so forth. It has a lot of statistics and details about how it actually works, focusing on the capabilities. That's broadly what a model card contains.
Yeah, let's go back to the table.
So what I found interesting, I have been following this concept of vending bench and retail bench, and then domain specific application. When I saw this, I was like, hey, here is a good leap, 88.9 to 91, and the leap in telecom was 98.2 to 98.3. While they have highlighted it, I think people have not talked about it much. The reason I find this quite interesting is because the more and more you get into higher 90s, the adoption of the model and applicability of the model for a range of use cases become significantly higher. So I would like to see retail go above 95. And I feel if you're in telecom, if you're going to use Opus 4.6, I think it's already there. I mean, if you're anything to do with telecom, here is like a pretty solid mature model. At 99.9 is almost like super good. It's like, but this is already better than most humans can.
Yeah, close to deterministic systems, right?
Yeah, close to deterministic systems. So I think I found this to be interesting. The other one that was really big bump that I saw was ARC AGI benchmark from 37.6 to 68.8. This was something that was pleasant surprise. I think these are probably
talk a little
least
bit about ARC AGI. Again, this was like a very recent benchmark. Many people may not know the significance of it.
So RKGA benchmark is probably helping us measure the ability of the model, getting closer to the artificial general intelligence. So it's one of the popular benchmarks. It sort of represents, there's one more benchmark known as humanity's last exam. There are quite a few of them, but it helps generally measure the thinking capability of the model and its ability to think more like humans. So that's what RKGA is all about. So I watch it a lot, and I also watch domain specific benchmark most of the time. So I think in these two contexts, I think it is pretty much scoring high. I think this is what I want to talk about. Cloud Opus. I will get into software development, but I think very few people are looking at this. So I just wanted to draw our attention to this. You have any other observations that we should speak
So
about, Rajan?
for me, the system card, I think we should go to section 7. Like,
Ah, okay.
one of the things about any model training is that every model trainer is supposed to talk about, like, what are the societal level risks, like, can the model help create like a bio weapon, or is there any nuclear type of risk, and everybody is supposed to do that. Till the world was open, that is maybe many moons ago, maybe 18 months ago, everybody used to publish their model card. It's now only Anthropic which does it very religiously, and it's always interesting to watch out, like, the edge cases that they had tested. And like, one
Mm,
of the things that they say is that like, the biggest problem in model building is how do you get alignment, right? You first train the model, but then you want the model to follow instructions, and then you want to actually get them aligned with whatever the system design goal is. And the thing that stood out for me was just where it said that models may start becoming a little self-aware, maybe about 10 to 15% of self-awareness, and it kind of resisting alignment, right? So those are things that was very, very interesting for me, because like last time when Anthropic actually made such uh, revelation, it became like a big news where like a lot of news publications started saying, "Look, the model will rat you out if you try to do something sinister," right? So one of the things that 4.6 pointed out is that it is becoming more difficult and difficult to, like, work towards the alignment. And then I was able to connect this with that 15,000 word or 20,000 word essay that Dario wrote, of saying, look, we have to actually take this very seriously as a society. Even though I find it very funny, on one hand he says that, and he releases the Super Bowl ad, which is taking like just cheap pot shots at OpenAI, which I thought was like, AI boys. I thought they should grow up. Maybe they didn't take their lesson from Steve Jobs. Marketing is not about values; it is about what you stand for. And then here, these are like two guys quibbling over each other. I wrote a Twitter article on that. But coming back to the model card, I think this is very interesting, of where, like, the model capabilities is going way beyond, and Anthropic is acknowledging it. So that to me was something that stood out for me.
awesome. I think spot on. I miss seeing this. The only thing I saw was emotional stability and a couple of other parameters there, but I miss really reading this. I think on this note, probably we talked about model card. I'll give my first-hand experiences on
Codex.
Opus and Codex. Yeah. What I found really interesting is uh, I think in this round I would say Codex 1 for the
Okay.
sheer ability that, like how these agents work. You give a task and it's doing something on its own. During the course of its work, if you find something agent is doing, you can steer the model halfway through the work, and that's something I found Codex can do, and that sort of is in line with my style of coding. And especially if you're doing front end stuff, there's a lot of opinionated stuff we do, right? Oh, I don't want this, I want this, and it's a lot of intuition. So that's where I think Codex one. The other thing I found it really interesting is that um, a Codex is also a little more cautious in making changes. While it can run autonomously, it can spawn agents better. So it's, I mean, of course, with the Codex app, the way they are thinking, I think although the models are very similar, I think Codex won this round, especially for front end, hands down. I think it's one. Back end, I would say it's on par with Anthropic. What Anthropic didn't, I mean, apart from the million token window, it failed to surprise me. Like traditionally it has been, Opus was such an awesome model, 4.5, that the jump from 4.5 to 4.6 was like, meh. Uh, yeah, it was good, but
So
I'm
on the
not
other hand,
surprised. Yeah,
don't you think
yeah,
that Anthropic actually made more releases? Like, there was a Codex, the app that we talked about last time, and then there was
yeah,
this 5.3, which was more
yeah.
about fast. I agree with that. But if you look at the number of announcements, I mean, of course, they did this ad thing that they did, and then they did that Swarm thing, and then they. How can we not talk about that? Plugin that they released for Claude co-work, which was for lawyers, and that led to the like $250 billion
Yeah.
slide in the market. So just in terms of volume, like just this entire week, I thought Anthropic at least won on the marketing side. maybe the 4.5 to 4.6 is just a small delta, and that too actually setting an expectation of 5 and just doing 4.6. I did feel a little bit, but I thought they won more on the making more noise side, right?
Yeah.
And and
Which
here they,
surprisingly OpenAI does.
which
And it's
surprisingly
surprisingly,
OpenAI does, right?
yeah. I think
Yeah.
they definitely were in the marketing game. They were in news every single day, whether they were for the right reason or the wrong reason.
Got a hot take on AI? A burning question? Let us know what you'd like us to debate next. And hey, if you want to jump in the ring with us, drop your LinkedIn link and the topic you're itching to discuss. We'd love to have you on the show.